Monica Stone. We're broadcasting live from Paramount's Kings Island.
And boy, have we got a lot of fun stuff happening on today's Kids News Network. We'll take a sneak peek at the KNN Water Park Challenge, and we'll check out the newest attraction here at Kings Island.
That's right. It's called the Drop Zone, and KNN reporter Kristen Young was brave enough to take the 172-foot plunge.
It's all coming up next, so stay tuned for more of the 10 TV Kids News Network.
On air in 15.
Not ready yet.
1, 2, 3, 4.
From your 24-hour news source, this is 10 TV Kids News Network.
Hello, I'm Julia Setta.
And I'm Megan Boyer. We'll be going back to Monica and Dana, broadcasting live from Kings Island in a moment.
And kids, listen to this. Your chance to win that free trip to Universal Studios is coming up in a few minutes. So get a pen to write down the answer. And remember, you only have to enter once to have a chance to win. This week's question is pretty easy, so be ready.
And we've got plenty of other cool stuff in today's show, like a 13-year-old glass blower.
And I've got the big news from the Gusmaker tournament. It was really hot, and so is our KNN Biggie Small team. We'll tell you how they did coming up on KNN Sports.
Imagine winning $15,000 or even $30,000 in a competition and then having it taken away from you. That's exactly what happened to some of the winners from last summer's Junior Fair Livestock competition. You may remember the story. Some kids who showed the grand champion animals at the Ohio State Fair lost their prize money because fair officials discovered that the animals had been tampered with. And because of all the cheating that went on last year, fair officials have changed the rules a little bit for this year's fair season. All the animals competing at the county fairs and the state fair will be tested for drugs if they want to win the first place blue ribbon. We caught up with some junior fair kids who are competing at the Franklin County Fair and asked if they thought the testing was fair.
Yeah, because everybody else's animals have to, so ours should have to be, too. Yeah, because some people might cheat, and I know that I don't, and I can prove that by letting them test it. And some people might cheat, and then, so they should just test them and make sure.
The winners from the county fairs will head to the Ohio State Fair in August.
Marijuana use among 8th graders has doubled in 3 years. That's the word from a new survey released at the first National Conference on Marijuana Use. And the average age that kids first try smoking marijuana is now 13 and a half. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, smoking marijuana can be addictive, and twice as many teenagers end up in the emergency room from using marijuana as from heroin and cocaine combined. The study shows that marijuana use is up among kids. We want to know if you know people that smoke marijuana, so that's our KNN Kids Line question. Call us at 1-800-KNN-KIDS and let us know. We'll have the results next week on KNN.
Where do kids around Central Ohio like to go for summer fun? How about a visit to Kings Island?
That's where we have a KNN crew this morning. Let's go back to Monica Stone and Dana Krall reporting live from Kings Island.
We're here on International Street, and it's July. It's a Saturday, and it's very sunny and beautiful. There are lots of people here checking out all the different attractions. There's roller coasters, and some people are heading to Waterworks, which is the water park that's actually part of Kings Island.
On a hot day like today, you really appreciate being near water. Nobody knows that better than the 3 KNN reporters who are rating all of Ohio's water parks for our KNN Water Park Challenge. What exactly is the Water Park Challenge? Here's Helen Watson with a preview.
The KNN Water Park Challenge is very simple. We want to know which places have the best rides and slides here in the state of Ohio. Kings Island's Waterworks is the starting point. The place has some pretty cool rides, including the Rushing River. The 700-foot raft ride will really get you wet. And getting you totally soaked is one of our judging categories for the Water Park Challenge. We'll rate the rides for wettest ride, the biggest thrill, and the best other attractions around the park. Like Waterworks has Kings Island next to it. That would be a positive grade. And that's exactly how we'll rate these places, with grades A, B, C, D, or F, just like school.
Don't say school, that's a long way off. It's the middle of the summer, 95 degrees in the shade, and it's a great time to get soaked.
We'll also check out the beach, Soap City at Cedar Point, and also Wyandotte Lake.
So don't be a sissy. Check out KNN's Water Park Challenge next week on Kids News Network. Back to you guys.
Sunshine, water, fun, what more can you ask for? It's not fair. I think those reporters are having too much fun on that story.
Yeah, really. Well, like Jesse said, we'll see the results on next week's show. But coming up in a few minutes, we're going to check out the newest attraction here. It's called the Drop Zone. It's pretty scary.
Right now, let's head back to the KNN studio.
This week was the official start of the one-year countdown for the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta. To celebrate, there was a 1996 Olympic T-shirt auction to help raise money for kids who might not otherwise get to see the Summer Games. Olympic gold medalist Dan Jansen auctioned off the shirt for $4,650. In Switzerland, the International Olympic Committee sent out invitations to the world's 197 national Olympic committees. The invitations were signed and then carried out of the conference hall by UPS workers and shipped out to the different countries. And back in the States, fans of the Tejano music singer Selena signed up to buy her new album. A store manager in her hometown estimated that he had sold nearly 4,000 copies in just under 10 hours. And that's news from around the world.
Okay, kids, your chance to win the free trip to Universal Studios in Florida is coming up next.
The question is really easy, so stay tuned. And we're heading back to Kings Island live.
Plus, the roving reporter hotline is open. Call in your stories to 821-1010.
Hey, kids. Good.
Hi, we're back live at Paramount Kings Island in Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the Beast and the Vortex. Now, if you've already tested all the coasters here and are looking for a new thrill ride, you might be brave enough to try the Drop Zone.
We sent Daredevil reporter Kristen Young on a mission to try it out. Let's see if she survived.
Hey kids, ever wonder what it's like to skydive? Well, I'm going to find out as I hit the Drop Zone at Paramount Kings Island.
To help celebrate the opening of this new ride, skydiver Paul McGowan dropped in for a visit. Paul is used to precision skydiving. He's the guy that skydived in for Super Bowl.
What's it like to skydive?
Well, it's pretty much like the ride you're going to see right now. You're up in an airplane at 3,000 or 4,000 feet. You step out, you fall for about 10 seconds. You pull the ripcord, parachute opens up. Nice, easy glide all the way to the ground.
The Drop Zone takes riders 172 feet in the air using 2 steel cables. Once it drops, riders can hit 60 miles an hour. I asked kids if they were scared.
Are you nervous?
Kind of. I'm really excited though. The ride lasts about 4 minutes from the time you're hooked up until you're done.
They didn't seem so scared on the ground. I wonder what they're feeling now.
It was not really that scary, but it's awesome. It was scary at first. It's like you're dreaming. It's like you can't believe it's really happening, but it's fun. Now it's my turn, and I'm really not nervous.
Hold it. You want me to fly from way up there?
Flying with me is Daredevil skydiver Paul McGowan and his buddy Jeff. Now, the cables are rated at 9,000 pounds each, but these guys are monsters. We just could be putting it to the test. It seemed like it took forever to get to the top, and the view is pretty cool. But there's no time to enjoy it, because any second now...
Oh, here we go. Oh, we're turning. Oh, no, backwards. Oh.
3, 2, 1, fly.
I never thought I'd be able to fly, but at Paramount Kings Island, anyone can. Reporting for the Kids News Network, I'm Kristen Young.
Man, this thing behind me, that's it. That's the Drop Zone, like you saw in the story. The thing is huge. I kept saying on the way down here how I wanted to ride it, right?
Then you saw
and
it.
then I saw it, and I said, there's no way, but there's, like, no way you're going to ride it, right?
Oh, no, you cannot pay me enough to go on a ride that scary.
Well, speaking of money, it does cost $15 to ride, so if you're going to come down and you want to try it out, make sure you bring $15 to check it out. But if you're like Monica and you don't like the coasters or anything like that, there's plenty of stuff you can do with both feet on the ground.
That's right. There's an exhibit called Congo, the making of a movie, and it features actual props that were used in the movie. It's a great exhibit, but you have to hurry. It'll only be here until tomorrow.
Now, have you seen Congo, the movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, neither have I, but I've heard some good things and some bad things about it. But KNN reporter Megan Boyer, film critic Megan Boyer, did a review for us, and let's see what she had to say about it.
The movie Congo is based on the book by Michael Crichton, and like all books made into movies, the plot is a little complicated. Congo takes place in Zaire, Africa. The main character is telecommunications expert Karen Ross. Karen's company, Telecom, is working on a top-secret laser gun that is operated by a rare form of diamond found only in Zaire. After the first expedition appears lost, Karen's boss sends her to Zaire in search of the diamond and the lost explorers. Along the way, she meets up with a gorilla named Amy, who talks through the aid of a computer, and the gorilla's trainer, Peter. On their journey, they encounter many obstacles, including African terrorists, erupting volcanoes, and worst of all, killer apes.
Monroe?
I wouldn't recommend Congo for kids under 10 or people with weak stomachs. This movie contained a large amount of violence and profane language. It was also incredibly gory, but I must say it kept me on the edge of my seat. I give Congo 3 out of 4 stars. So if you're looking for adventure and don't mind a little blood and gore now and then, go see Congo. Reporting for the Kids News Network, I'm Megan Boyer.
They were really partying in Anaheim, California earlier this week to celebrate the birthday of the original Magic Kingdom.
Happy birthday, dear Disneyland. Happy birthday to you.
It was 40 years ago that Walt Disney first opened the gates to Disneyland. About 40,000 people attended the opening ceremonies in 1955. The park is still popular today. Nearly 70,000 people will fill Disneyland on a peak season day. Sometimes kids are into things that you'd think only adults do. Well, we met up with a kid who is a pretty good artist, and his art is not what you'd think most kids are into. We got to check him out one evening at a very hot studio near downtown Columbus called the Glass Axis.
13-year-old Nick Terrible has a unique hobby. He's a glass artist. Nick has been working with glass for about 2 years. To get started, Nick took a couple of classes at Glass Axis, got a few lessons from his parents, worked with a tutor, and now works closely with his mentor, Lee Hervey, who is a full-time artist. So what gets a 13-year-old involved in glass blowing?
I got started because my parents collected glass from various major artists, and we saw this stuff and we thought it was really beautiful, and then we decided, well, we should try this and see if we can do it, because it's like really cool.
Learning this craft takes a lot of patience, and there's a lot to learn, like what goes into making glass.
Molten glass it's mainly silica or sand, but has lime, soda ash, and various other compounds, and you add color by different metal oxides. Specifically, gold is for red. The hardest thing about working about glass is there's a whole lot of heat involved, because there's a furnace, and it's usually around 2100 degrees, and the glory hole's around 2300, and also keeping it on center so that it doesn't fall off the punny or the pipe and spill onto the floor.
Nick is getting so good at his art that he plans to attend the Penland School of Crafts in North Carolina. What's so cool about that is they don't accept anyone under the age of 18. So how does Nick's work compare with the adults he works with?
Some of the adults, I wish I could be as good as they are, and they're only 25 or 30. And some of 25 and 30-year-olds wish they could be as good as I am, so I'm just kind of smack dab in the middle.
Well, not exactly in the middle. Nick's work is so good that he has several pieces for sale in a very cool gallery in the short north called Riley Hawk Gallery. That is really cool for a kid who is only 13. So what does Nick hope that his unique art will give him later on?
Well, I hope that I'll eventually be making money and breaking even and having fun with it. That's the main thing. With most every art, you have to have fun with it. Otherwise, it's just boring. It's a regular job.
How did the KNN Biggie Smalls do in the Guest Smacker?
And why were they called the Biggie Smalls? Stick around and find out.
He was dancing.
We're back. The Gus Macker 3-on-3 tournament had kids from all over Central Ohio competing to see who is the best.
And the Kids News Network had a team in the tourney called the KNN Biggie Smalls. Jonathan, you played on the team. Why were you guys called the Biggie Smalls?
Well, it's like this. We had Terry Allen and me as the biggies, and Mario and Albert as the smalls. The 6th annual Gus Macker 3-on-3 basketball tournament took place at Franklin Park this weekend. The tournament, which benefits the Columbus Recreation and Parks Department, had 800 teams competing on half courts around the park. Hundreds of boys and girls from around the nation braved temperatures in excess of 90 degrees to try to be number one. Teams were made up of players ages 15 and older or 14 and under. The KNN Biggie Smalls were competing in the 14 under age group. And me, Terry, Mario, and Albert felt that we had a very good chance of winning this year.
We're going to win today, then we're going to come back tomorrow and win, then we're going to win that, and then we're just going to take the trophy and go home. Going undefeated, huh? Going undefeated.
And that's exactly what our team did, winning all 4 of the games that we played in at the tournament. The competition was tough, but the KNN Biggie Smalls met the challenge and won the first place trophy for our age group. It was really hot playing in the Gus Macker. The temperature hit a scorching 97 degrees. Staying cool was hard, but there are some things you can do. First, take it easy, don't play at full speed, and drink lots of water about a quarter an hour. Wearing light clothes helps, and hats also protect you from the sun's hot rays. It's postseason time in Little League Baseball. KNN went to Grove City last weekend to check out a 12-year-old state qualifier in Continental Baseball. The Hilliard Colts snuck by the Columbus Roadrunners 7-6. Here's Joe Rattle Savage with the winning stroke in the bottom of the 8th. Next, the Licking County Stallions and Groveport Merchants win a wild 9 innings. Early on, Groveport's John Shepard goes downtown with his first ever home run. And then Jason Barnett adds 2 more with this blast. But the Stallions battled their way to the top with 11 runs in the 6th inning, making the score 17-16. Then the Grove City Tornadoes took on the North Columbus Raiders in the nightcap. The Raiders jumped out on top early, but the Tornadoes came back strong to wind up on top by a score of 13-5. When all 6 teams had played each other, Groveport and Licking County were top with only 1 loss each. That meant rematch time, and this one neck and neck all the way. But in the final inning, Jason Barnett makes it a final score of 5-2 with another dinger. Both teams shook hands and took home the gold, but these kids from Groveport qualified for the state finals coming up in Newark at the end of the month. Congratulations. Baseball fans have been crowding into the Clippers games now that Darryl Strawberry's on the team. And some lucky kids actually got to meet the former Yankee this week when they took part in a baseball clinic at Cooper Stadium. Strawberry had this message for kids.
Message is direction. For young kids today, I think if there's no direction, there's no hope.
Strawberry is trying to make a comeback after being suspended for using drugs. Some people say he'll be with the Clippers for a while, but others think Darryl will be called back to play with the Yankees. The only person who knows for sure is Yankees owner George Steinbrenner. There may be an NBA player locked out, but that didn't stop Jimmy Jackson and Nick Van Exel from shooting hoops last Tuesday. The 2 were in town to play at Thomas Worthington High School for the Worthington Summer League. Jimmy Jackson became a Kroger All-Star to take on Louis Medicine Men. Jimmy's All-Star team won 87-81. Kajana Carter of Westerville has made the NFL record books for his $19.2 million 7-year contract. Carter will play for the Bengals and will also get a bonus of $7.1 million. But Carter says he just wants to get out on the field and practice for Cincinnati's upcoming season. Let's hope it's a good one. Who is better, the Reds or the Indians? That was our Kids Line question last week, and we have the results. The winner is the Cincinnati Reds in a very close vote. If baseball fans in Ohio gets lucky, we'll get an All-Ohio World Series. Thanks for calling the Kids Line, and that's a wrap from the KNN Sports Desk. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Next up, we'll head underground for a real adventure.
We'll be right back.
Attention, all you speedunkers. This week's On Location is just for you. What's spelunking? Well, it has to do with hanging around in caves. Kristen Young goes to Southern Ohio to check out 7 caves.
Where can you go to see 7 caves, 2 beautiful streams, and a ton of wildlife? Hi, I'm Kristen Young, and we're here on location at 7 Caves near Chillicothe. 7 Caves is one of the most beautiful natural areas in the state. The caves themselves were formed by rapid erosion when the oceans covering Ohio receded. Further erosion was caused thousands of years later when melting glaciers created runoff and further cut the Rocky Fork Gorge. Visitors to 7 Caves will get to see beautiful overlooks of the Rocky Fork Creek, but kids will like the caves the most. You can walk through the caves and see how they were formed. You can walk through all 7 of the caves, and some of them are kind of small, but others are really big. This place is really beautiful so far. But how did the early Indians use Seven Caves? Seven Caves owner Chet Miller filled us in on some history. What do you know about the Native Americans who inhabited this area?
The two tribes that were here the most were the Shawnee and the Delaware. And they came here because of the natural protection provided by the caves and, of course, the extremely fine water supply.
Native Americans weren't the only ones here. Some famous early settlers made their way into this area. What are some of the legends of this area?
Well, two of the most outstanding ones. One is that Daniel Boone spent a night here, tied to a tree by the Indians had tied him there. Still another on the west side, Johnny Appleseed came through here and planted some apple trees.
Spring-fed creeks run through the Seven Caves and into the Rocky Fork Creek. This excellent supply of water means that tons of wildlife will be around. Visitors can expect to see deer, chipmunks, squirrels, and lots of beautiful birds. We got real lucky and even saw great blue heron flying through the gorge. It's beautiful now, but when are the best times to come see Seven Caves?
Each season, Kristen, has its unique beauty. Springtime is my favorite time. April and May as the green bursts forth and all the flowers, including the red and white trillium. Fall, perhaps, is the most radiant. The middle of October would be the peak season. But the winter time is very pretty also.
Here at Seven Caves, you can learn a little about our early ancestors and see some beautiful scenery as well. Don't forget, you're going to have to hike a little, but believe me, it's well worth it. Reporting to the Kids News Network, on location, I'm Kristen Young.
Seven Caves is about an hour and a half from Columbus and is located across from Paint Creek State Park. The caves are privately owned and cost about $30 admission for a family of 4. We're just about out of time. Don't forget to enter our Universal Studios contest. Just answer this easy question. Kids News has broadcast live from A, Kings Island, B, Cedar Point, C, Disney World, or D, all of the above. Write down your answer and send it to the Kids News Network, P.O. Box 1010, Columbus, Ohio, 43216. If your postcard is picked, you'll win a trip for 4 to Universal Studios.
And now, let's go back to Dana and Monica live at Kings Island.
Okay, thanks, guys. Well, we found some pretty interesting visitors to the park today.
That's right. These guys are from a very faraway place. What's your name?
I'm Captain Fromage of the Klingon Empire.
Okay, and you are?
I'm Commander Sunak, a Vulcan.
Okay, well, what are you guys doing here on Earth?
We're here on a mission of peace to observe your people.
Okay, and is that why you're here, too?
Yes, I came with him.
Okay, so what do you think of our people so far?
I think you're a bunch of sniveling weaklings.
Okay, and what do you...
You're illogical and you have too much fun.
Okay, well, I suppose everyone's entitled to their opinion, so...
Right.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. We're about out of time for this week, but before we go, we'd like to say a special thank you to some pretty important people.
That's right. You folks tune in every week, or however... you folks tune in every week, and you see us in front of the camera, but what you don't see is the producers, the writers, the cameramen, the guys who work the Skybeam. All these people. There's Lisa Waller, our associate producer. And we just like to say thank you. I'm Dana Krall. Tune in next week.
And I'm Monica Stone.